Make room in the state legislature. Oregon's honorary kid governor was officially sworn in yesterday. We talked with Governor Emery Martin about her plans during her term.
We have reached the midway point of the work week. Here we are on a Wednesday. Rod.
Yes.
You know, you saw me probably this morning in the newsroom. I was working hard on all the news headlines.
I noticed, yeah.
But I am always listening to you as well in the background in the Weather Center. I heard you say the record high temperature in Portland for this day is 62, and we may actually get close to that mark.
Yeah, you know, I don't just check the record unless it dawns on to me, holy cow, could we be near a record today? Now, that record of 62 is actually one of the higher records for this time of the year. But right now, it's 57 degrees in downtown Portland. We are seeing still rainy areas up around Astoria and Longview. We keep expecting this to move totally north of you. We'll see what happens today. And we have a spotty shower that's popped right over downtown Portland. This should go on to be generally, certainly south of Astoria and Longview, a dry day with thinning cloud cover. Here are those numbers. It's cooler along the gorge where we have a cooler east wind, 45 up at Pearson Airfield in Vancouver, but 56 in West Lynn. As you step outside, 55 in Salem, as you step outside. So we'll be in the 50s all day long, and maybe one of you special people out there get 60 degrees. Back to you.
All right, we'll see you later. Thank you, Rod. We start this morning with hospitals letting COVID-positive employees stay on the job and treat patients.
Yeah, those hospitals are dealing with severe staffing issues, including many here in Portland. Legacy Health, at least, sent its new COVID guidance policy to employees this past Friday. And it says employees who test positive for COVID can go back to work 5 days after the start of their symptoms if those symptoms are mild enough to be controlled by over-the-counter meds. In short, employees who have COVID and are still symptomatic can now treat patients. With staffing shortages, Legacy Health officials say it's a no-win situation that led them to this tough decision.
We are increasing risk tolerance to be able to care for the folks that so desperately need it. If we don't do that, we're going to find ourselves in crisis standards of care much faster as a region.
So Legacy and hospitals nationwide are facing this workforce slashed by illness and understaffing. At the same time, of course, they're treating more patients. In California, state health officials just announced hospital staff who test positive but don't have symptoms can also continue working. Rhode Island and Arizona have similar guidelines, and the list is growing. Now, people are really starting to talk about this once we posted it last night on our Facebook page. So here are a couple of thoughts from viewers. Heather says, so months after you fired a bunch of my coworkers for not being vaccinated, you're now saying staff who test positive and are symptomatic can care for patients who are sick and likely immunocompromised? Meanwhile, Carmela says, great, that will definitely keep the spread going. Very smart. Not. We have more information on the policy, and you can weigh in on this story on our KGW Facebook page.
All this is happening as some Oregon counties saw their COVID cases quadruple last week. Health experts say that shows how fast Omicron is spreading. We chatted with Clackamas County Public Health Officer Dr. Sarah Present. She said in Clackamas County, the test positivity rate for the first week of January was almost 23%. It was just under 5% a month ago. Experts believe the soaring numbers are actually an undercount since many people are doing at-home tests and they're not reporting the results.
So we know, first of all, that our case rate is an undercount. And we know that there are lots of cases that are probably not being tested at all because our test positivity rate is so high. So the test positivity rate has a lot to do with the test availability for those people who are sick. So looking at both of those numbers together, I know that there's a lot of COVID in our community that we're not knowing about.
A lot of people wondering when to test for Omicron. Dr. Present recommends 3 to 5 days after exposure or 2 to 3 days after your symptoms start. That way your viral load is high enough to produce an accurate result. If your results are negative, do another test in 24 hours to confirm.
Well, we have been following the ongoing impact of the pandemic on our schools. And last night, the David Douglas School District announced it will be closing all of its schools tomorrow and Friday to prepare for a possible return to distance learning. In a note to parents, they say they hope to have kids, though, back in class next week.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty there. In North Portland, meanwhile, Jefferson High School is turning to distance learning, that's for sure. And the Salem-Keizer School District announced all of its schools will be closed this Friday because of COVID staffing issues. KGW's Pat Doris has more on all the changes happening at local schools.
In the Tigard-Tualatin School District, 6,500 students are going back to distance learning. The district will temporarily close Tigard High School, Tualatin High School, along with Fowler Middle School and Hazelbrook and Tualatin Middle Schools. They join Durham Elementary, which was already closed because of COVID. Superintendent Sue Reekie-Smith told me there simply were not enough people to fill all the positions needed to keep the schools running.
Because this thing is incredibly fluid, and much different than Delta. Delta was a slower roll, and we could keep an eye to it. This one is just literally moment by moment.
She said the daily battle to find enough healthy people to staff the schools is exhausting.
Our day starts here at about 4:30 in the morning. We take a look at staff outages and sub requests. We then take a look at where we are with our students. I get another report around 8 a.m., one midday, one in the afternoon, and then in the evening, we're taking a look at sub requests for the next day. And 4:30, we start all over again.
She hopes the switch to online is brief, and as of right now, the plan is to return to in-person learning on Monday, January 24th. In the Hillsborough District, 2 large elementary schools, Indian Hills and Brookwood, will both go online, sending 779 students back home. A spokeswoman said the concern is a possibility of a high number of people infected who are now at school.
It's a number of factors. It's, can you field enough staff to hold school safely? Have there been enough potential exposures that the resources it would take to potentially put all of those people through a testing regimen to determine whether or not it's safe to hold school or not is realistic.
Forest Grove High School is also moving to online classes with a third of their students already absent. At the Salem-Keizer District, the second biggest in Oregon, it's day-to-day, says the assistant superintendent.
We don't actually have a threshold because every site is different. Of course, that 20% would make things really difficult to keep buildings open and functioning the way we'd like to.
Late today, the district announced it will close all schools Friday because of a growing shortage of staff and higher than normal student absences, all apparently brought on by the coronavirus. Pat Doris, KGW News.
Bottom line, a lot of local schools have either made the transition back to remote learning or they're considering it right now. We're hearing questions about this from local parents and teachers, and one question we've heard a lot is this one. What's the threshold exactly for moving a school back to distance learning? Are there any specific metrics?
You know, I hear our families and I hear our educators wanting a clear metric or a clear threshold, but it's not. I don't think that's. It's not that simple. Knowing, again, our premise is to keep schools open.
That's Jonathan Garcia from Portland Public Schools. He told us that the Portland Public School District is monitoring multiple data points, including absences and staff vacancies. So here's some of the raw data from yesterday. He told us that the district had 391 teachers requesting a substitute. Again, this is just yesterday. 160 of those were not filled. And on Monday, 2 days ago, almost 1 in 4 students in the district did not show up for class. Yesterday, he told us there were a few schools being monitored closely, but he wouldn't say which schools because the information could change very quickly.
Okay, you guys, we want to let you know how the swearing-in ceremony went for Oregon's honorary kid governor. Yesterday here on Sunrise, we told you about 5th grader Emery Martin. She goes to Pleasant Hill Elementary School. To win this job, she and other candidates had to submit campaign videos. Judges chose 7 finalists, and then came a statewide election with every 5th grade class getting a chance to vote. So for the next year, Emery will work on her platform, which is preventing animal abuse in Oregon. She's going to volunteer and organize fundraisers and supply drives.
Because animals are a huge part of my life, and I love animals so much. This is just the perfect cause for me.
Governor Emery also has a cabinet of 6 other students. More than 2,000 kids in 97 schools participated in the election. Schools that want to get involved can contact the Secretary of State's office. Very well spoken. What a fabulous opportunity for all those kids.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I want her to lead me. Lead me.
Well, give her a couple years, just a few more. I cannot get over how mild it's been.
Oh, it's crazy. And if you look at the extended charts, which go out in some detail to the 28th day of January, 4 out of 5 days basically look dry in the weeks ahead, which is not great news. And temperatures look to be normal to many days up into the 50s, which is pleasant, but again, maybe not great news. Here's a look at what we are following right now. A big ball of rain right up into Seattle. So if you're traveling northward up I-5, you'll eventually get wet today. If you travel southward or off to the east, you'll be dry. There's a little shower. It's popping over downtown right now. It's kind of ruining my dry forecast. This rainy area should continue to inch northward. Astoria has picked up a half of an inch of rain just since midnight. Clatsop County, I tell you what, you folks have had a lot of moisture the last couple of weeks. Here are those numbers, which are crazy mild. Astoria, speaking of, even with rain, 57. Kelso, even with showers, 56. Salem's dry and 55 degrees right now, 37 out in the Dalles. Futurecast does show the rain we just saw inching north. We'll see if that holds true. And some thinning cloud cover, so kind of a mostly cloudy to partly sunny day expected. Here comes the rain overnight into tomorrow morning. Remember, there's a cold front tomorrow morning. It looks like a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit more than that here in the valley on average. Could be up to 6 inches of snow tomorrow in the Cascades. Snow level down to about 4,500 feet, maybe 4,000 feet eventually tomorrow. Look at this number though. Salem 58 degrees today. Wow, 58. Battleground 56. Longview 57. Vancouver is close to the Columbia River, so if you are near the Columbia River and you have an east wind, you may struggle to get up to about 50 today. 50 tomorrow with the showers. Friday, Saturday, Sunday dry. Dr. Martin Luther King holiday on Monday. Will the rain hold off until Monday night or Tuesday morning, or does it come in Monday afternoon? That timing's kind of been back and forth. Back to you.
All right, Rod. More from Rodney coming up here in about 8 minutes. But this story is next on Sunrise. We saw lots of different weather records broken last year, from snowstorms to those extreme heat waves that were back in June. Coming up at 5:15, we're going to talk about new data that reveals what future weather patterns may hold. But before we get to that story, we have this one. We know results from the U.S. Census came out last year, but some people say they're now getting new questionnaires from the Census Bureau. So right after the break, our Verified team will check to see if those questionnaires are legitimate.